Hey, warriors, manipulators don't manipulate everyone. They select targets. And if you've ever walked away from a conversation feeling foggy, like your brain got scrambled while the other person stayed calm, this video is about you. Because real manipulation rarely looks like shouting. It doesn't look like rage. It doesn't look like a villain with a smirk. The most dangerous manipulators don't look aggressive. They look reasonable. They sound mature. They talk like they're trying to solve the problem. They use logic like a weapon. And they use your conscience like a leash. Here's the part nobody wants to admit. They don't break you in one move. They rearrange your thinking slowly, quietly, conversation by conversation, until you start doubting your instincts, questioning your memory, and apologizing for things you didn't even do. And it always starts the same way, not with control, with permission. They watch how you respond to pressure. They listen for guilt. They test how quickly you explain yourself. They scan for that one thing they can pull. Your need for harmony, your fear of conflict, your desire to be seen as good. Then they build a system around your weaknesses and call it communication. Machiavelli warned about this hundreds of years ago. People who understand human weakness will always rule those who don't. Not because they're smarter, because they're willing. Willing to study what makes people bend. Willing to push where it hurts. Willing to use emotion like a crowbar. So, let's be clear. This is not about being nice. This is about mental survival. In this video, I'm going to walk you through 6 Machiavellian psychology tricks manipulators use. Clean, sharp, and practical. So, you can spot them fast, shut them down quietly, and stop offering access to your mind. No dramatic confrontation, no calling them out. No speeches that make you feel brave for 10 minutes and vulnerable for 10 months. Just control, quiet control. By the end of this video, manipulators will sense resistance before they even try, because the moment you see the pattern, the illusion dies. Now, I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments. I stay unshaken. Number 1, identify the invisible contract. Most people think manipulation starts with a lie. It doesn't. It starts with a gift, a favor you didn't ask for, help you didn't need. Support that came with no strings attached, until suddenly there were strings everywhere. This is the invisible contract, and it's one of the oldest power moves in human psychology. Someone does something for you. Could be small. Covers your shift. Listens when you're upset. Picks up lunch. You feel grateful. That's normal. But a manipulator isn't giving to be kind. They're investing. And when investment time comes, they don't ask politely. They collect. The scary part. You won't see it coming because weeks, sometimes months, pass between the gift and the demand. So when they finally ask for something that violates your boundaries, your first thought isn't, "This is unfair." It's, "I owe them." That feeling, that's the contract activating. And the manipulator knows exactly how to trigger it. They'll bring up the favor casually, like they're not weaponizing it. "Remember when I helped you move? I was there for you when no one else was." After everything I've done, notice the phrasing. They're not asking you to return the favor. They're reminding you that you're already in debt. And if you hesitate, if you try to say no, suddenly you're ungrateful, selfish, a bad friend, a user. Now you're not just declining a request, you're defending your character. That's how the invisible contract works. It reframes every boundary you set as a betrayal of the relationship. And because you're wired for reciprocity, because you were raised to return kindness, you fold. But reciprocity and manipulation are not the same thing. Reciprocity is balanced. Both people give freely with no scorecards. Manipulation is transactional. Every gift has a price tag. And you don't find out the cost until you're already holding the bag. So, how do you break this contract you never signed first? You recognize unsolicited favors for what they might be. Not all kindness is manipulation. Most isn't. But when someone keeps helping you in ways you didn't ask for, And those favors feel slightly too generous or too frequent. Pay attention. Manipulators overgive intentionally. They're building leverage. Second, you separate gratitude from obligation. You can appreciate what someone did without owing them your boundaries. Gratitude says, thank you. Obligation says yes when every part of you wants to say no. When they hit you with, after all I've done for you, your response is calm and final. I appreciate what you did. That doesn't change my answer. No apology, no guilt, no renegotiation. Watch what happens next. A healthy person will accept this. They might be disappointed, but they'll respect your boundary because they never expected repayment in the first place. A manipulator, they'll escalate. They'll get offended, hurt, angry because you just refused to honor a contract they wrote in invisible ink. And suddenly, their true intention reveals itself. It was never about helping you. It was about controlling you. And that's your confirmation. Once you see this pattern, you'll spot it everywhere. The family member who brings up every sacrifice they made whenever you set a limit. The friend who has your back, but expects you to compromise yourself when they need something. The partner who does sweet things then acts wounded when you don't do exactly what they want. They're all working from the same playbook. The invisible contract, the unspoken debt, the guilt disguised as gratitude. Machiavelli understood this deeply. He wrote that those who make others obligated to them gain power not through force, but through manufactured guilt. And guilt is the most effective chain because the prisoner locks it themselves. So stop locking yourself in. Stop treating kindness like debt. Stop believing that saying no makes you heartless. A real gift has no conditions. If there are conditions, it was never a gift. It was an investment. And you're not obligated to provide returns on an investment you never agreed to make. The invisible contract only binds you if you believe in it. The moment you stop, it vanishes, and a manipulator is left holding nothing but their own entitlement. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I own nothing but honesty. Number 2, moral hijacking. This is where they take everything you stand for and turn it into a weapon pointed at you. You believe in forgiveness. They'll remind you that good people forgive. You value loyalty. I thought you had my back. You believe in second chances. Congratulations. You're on chance 70 and they're asking for one more. This is moral hijacking. They identify your values, then twist them into tools that keep you trapped. And it's devastatingly effective because they're not appealing to logic. They're appealing to your identity, to who you believe you are. You're not the type to hold grudges. You're better than this. I know you're understanding. This isn't like you. And because you want to be that person, kind, mature, forgiving, you override your instincts. You suppress your anger. You give another chance. Even though every cell in your body is screaming to walk away, they've hijacked your morality and turned it into handcuffs. A person lies to you, betrays your trust. It's documented. It happened. But when you confront them, they don't argue the facts. Instead, I messed up. I know. But you've always said everyone deserves a chance to grow. You've always been the person who believes in people. See the trap? They've made it about whether you're consistent with your own values. Now, if you hold them accountable, you're the hypocrite. You're the one abandoning your principles. And good people don't abandon their principles. Right? Wrong. Here's the truth. They're counting on you not realizing. Forgiveness doesn't mean trust. Compassion doesn't mean stupidity. Giving someone a second chance doesn't mean giving them unlimited access to hurt you. You can forgive someone and still remove them from your life. You can wish them well from a distance. You can believe in their potential for growth without volunteering to be the crash test dummy for their development. Boundaries and values aren't enemies. They're partners. When someone says, I thought you were more understanding, the answer is simple. I am understanding. I understand exactly what happened, and I'm responding accordingly. Don't defend your values. Apply them Because the same values that teach you compassion also teach you self-respect. The same principles that encourage forgiveness also demand wisdom. And wisdom says, stop letting people rent space in your life using your own beliefs as the security deposit. Machiavelli observed that the easiest people to control are those with rigid moral codes. Not because morality is weak, but because it's predictable. A manipulator just has to figure out what you value, then frame every request as an extension of that value. You value family. Family sticks together no matter what. You value peace. You're creating unnecessary conflict. You value fairness. You're not being fair to me right now. It's brilliant. Really, they're not asking you to compromise your morals. They're asking you to sacrifice yourself in the name of your morals. So, redefine the value on your terms. When they say you believe in second chances, you say, I do, and I've given you several. What I don't believe in is infinite chances with zero accountability. You're not rejecting the value. You're clarifying it. And clarity destroys moral hijacking. Stop justifying your boundaries with your beliefs. The moment you say, I'm doing this because I value myself, you've opened the door for them to debate whether your action truly aligns with that value. Just state the boundary. I'm not doing that. Period. Your values are yours. You don't need to explain them to someone actively trying to weaponize them. What manipulators fear most is someone with strong values and stronger boundaries, because they can't guilt you, can't twist your principles into chains, can't convince you that self-protection makes you a bad person. You're not a bad person for enforcing consequences. You're not cold for refusing to be hurt repeatedly. You're not unforgiving for remembering what someone did. You're awake, and that's what terrifies them. Drop this affirmation in the comments. My values protect me. Number 3, emotional time control. Timing isn't just strategy and manipulation. It's everything. Manipulators don't bring up serious issues when you're sharp, rested, and ready to engage. They wait. They watch. And when you're tired, distracted, overwhelmed, or vulnerable, that's when they strike. Because they know the weaker your defense is, the easier you fold. This is emotional time control. The art of controlling when conflicts happen. So, you're always fighting from a deficit. Picture this. You're about to walk out the door for an important meeting. You're already running late. Keys in hand, mind on the day ahead, and suddenly we need to talk right now. Or you've just finished a brutal day. You're exhausted. You sit down, finally breathing, and within seconds, there's something we need to discuss. Not later, not when you've rested, not when you can actually think straight. Now, when you have nothing left to give. That's not coincidence. That's calculation. They're banking on your mental bandwidth being too drained to defend yourself properly. So, you agree to things you wouldn't normally agree to. You make concessions just to end the conversation. You apologize to avoid conflict. You surrender because you don't have the energy to stand firm. And the next morning, you wake up thinking, why did I say yes to that? Because you were ambushed. Manipulators instinctively understand that your capacity to resist changes based on your state. Late at night, you're softer. During a family event, you won't make a scene. When you're sick, you just want peace. So they load the heavy conversations into those moments, not because they need immediate resolution, but because immediate resolution favors them. And if you try to delay, if you say, "Can we talk about this later?" they'll frame it as avoidance. You're always running away from problems. You never want to deal with things. This is important, but if it's actually important, it can wait until you're ready. Real urgency doesn't need manipulation. Manufactured urgency does. So, here's your counter. Take back the clock. When someone tries to force a conversation at a bad time, you say this: I hear you. This matters. Let's talk tomorrow at 7 specific time. Firm commitment. No debate. If they push back, if they insist on now, that tells you everything. Because if the goal is resolution, timing shouldn't matter. But if the goal is catching you off guard, they'll demand immediacy. Healthy people respect your readiness. Manipulators resent it. And here's what most people miss. You don't owe anyone an instant response just because they demand one. Urgency is almost always manufactured. Real emergencies are rare. Most we need to talk right now. Situations can absolutely wait. But manipulators won't, because waiting gives you time to think, time to prepare, time to see the game, and they can't afford that. Machiavelli wrote that control over timing is control over outcomes. The person who dictates when the battle happens usually wins it. So stop letting others set your schedule for conflict. You decide when you're available for hard conversations. You decide when you're mentally ready. And you hold that boundary even when they pout, guilt trip, or accuse you of not caring. Because if they actually cared, they'd wait. One more thing, pay attention to patterns. If someone consistently brings up issues at your worst moments, late nights, stressful mornings, right before important events, that's not bad luck. That's deliberate. They've learned that ambushing you works, so they keep doing it. Break the pattern, refuse to engage on their timeline, set your availability, and enforce it without guilt. And watch how many urgent conversations suddenly become less urgent when you're the one choosing when they happen. Number 4. Weaponized confusion. You remember exactly what was said, the words, the tone, the context. It's clear in your mind, but when you bring it up, the person looks at you like you've invented a whole different reality. That never happened. You're twisting my words. I think you're remembering it wrong. And just like that, the conversation shifts. You're no longer discussing what they did. You're defending your sanity. This is weaponized confusion. And it's one of the most disorienting forms of manipulation because it doesn't attack your body or your reputation. It attacks your grip on reality itself. The manipulator doesn't need to win the argument. They just need to make you doubt whether there's even an argument to win. And doubt is their weapon. They'll mix truth with lies so seamlessly that you can't tell where one ends and the other begins. Maybe the conversation did happen on a different day. Maybe you got one detail slightly wrong, and they'll latch on to that small error like it's proof that your entire version of events is fabricated. See, you said it happened on Tuesday. It was Wednesday. So clearly, you're not remembering things accurately. One wrong detail becomes evidence that you can't be trusted, including by yourself. And suddenly, you're backtracking. Maybe I did get that wrong. Maybe I am being too sensitive. And the moment you say maybe, they've won because now you're not sure. And uncertainty is exactly where they need you. Uncertain people don't set boundaries. Uncertain people don't hold others accountable. Uncertain people apologize for things they didn't do just to make the discomfort stop. But here's what you need to understand. You're not confused. You're being confused. There's a massive difference. Confusion happens when information genuinely conflicts. But when one person consistently makes you feel insane, when every conversation leaves you questioning what you know to be true, that's not an accident. That's a strategy. Manipulators use this because it's efficient. Why defend their actions when they can make you question whether those actions even occurred? Why take responsibility when they can make you responsible for misinterpreting everything? The reversal is the cruelest part. You came to them with a legitimate hurt, and now you're the one apologizing for bringing it up. You're the one who's too emotional or making things up or starting drama. They flipped the entire script and you helped them do it. So, how do you fight back? Stop debating what happened. Manipulators love debates because debates require evidence. And gathering evidence means you're already playing defense. Instead, anchor to your experience. When they say, "I never said that," you don't argue. You don't pull out receipts. You don't try to prove them wrong. You say, "That's how I experienced it, and that's what I'm addressing." Notice the shift. You're no longer asking them to validate your memory. You're stating your reality. And there's nothing for them to argue against because your experience doesn't require their permission to exist. They'll try to pull you back in. So, you're calling me a liar. No, you're trusting yourself. And those are not the same thing. People who genuinely care about you don't make you feel insane for having feelings. They don't pick apart your memory to avoid accountability. They listen. They reflect. They take responsibility even when it's uncomfortable. Manipulators do the opposite. They weaponize your honesty. They turn your vulnerability into proof of your instability. And they do it so smoothly that you start to wonder if they're right. Stop wondering. Start documenting. Keep a record. Not to prove anything to them. They'll never accept proof, but to prove it to yourself. Write down what was said. Screenshot messages. Track patterns. Because gaslighting only works when memory is fuzzy. The moment you have evidence, the fog clears. You see the pattern. You trust yourself again, and their power dissolves. And when they accuse you of being paranoid for keeping track, that's all the confirmation you needed. Machiavelli warned that the most dangerous enemy is the one who makes you doubt your own mind. Because once you stop trusting yourself, you'll trust them instead. And that's when they own you. Don't give them that power. Your memory is valid. Your feelings are real. And anyone who makes you question both is showing you exactly who they are. Believe them. Now, I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments. My reality is valid. Number 5, strategic emotional absence. This one doesn't announce itself. There's no yelling, no accusations, just coldness. They're still physically present, but emotionally gone. And somehow that silence cuts deeper than any words could. This is strategic emotional absence. The deliberate withdrawal of warmth, attention, or affection as punishment. And it's one of the cruelest manipulation tactics because it weaponizes your need for connection. You set a boundary. You say no. You call out bad behavior. And suddenly they're different, distant, cold, short responses. No eye contact. That ease you're used to vanished. They're not telling you they're upset. They're showing you. And the message is crystal clear. This is what happens when you don't comply. The genius of this tactic is deniability. If you bring it up, they can dismiss you. I'm fine. You're imagining things now. You look paranoid for noticing something obvious. Or they'll admit it, but frame it as self-care. I just needed space. But space from what? From you enforcing a reasonable boundary. That's not space. That's punishment. And it works because humans are wired for connection. When someone important to us goes cold, we panic. We scramble to fix it even when we didn't break it. You start wondering, did I overreact? Was I too harsh? Should I have just let it go? And before you know it, you're the one apologizing for having boundaries. The pattern is predictable. They do something harmful. You address it calmly. They withdraw emotionally. You feel the distance and panic. You reach out, soften your position, maybe even retract the boundary just to restore the warmth. And just like that, they've trained you. Boundaries lead to abandonment. So you stop setting them. That's the entire goal. Not to argue with you, not to convince you you're wrong, just to make the emotional cost of boundaries so high that you stop enforcing them altogether. Your defense: do nothing. When they withdraw, let them. Don't chase. Don't beg for the connection to return. Don't twist yourself into knots trying to warm someone who chose to go cold. Just continue being yourself. Because strategic emotional absence only works if you react to it. If you chase, you've confirmed their withdrawal has power over you. But if you remain steady, if you give them their space without falling apart, the tactic collapses. One of two things will happen. Either they'll come back realizing the silent treatment doesn't control you anymore, or they'll stay gone, which tells you they were only interested in a version of you that didn't have boundaries. Either way, you win. Machiavelli understood that those who can endure silence hold more power than those who fear it. Because silence is only uncomfortable, if you're afraid of what it means. Manipulators count on that fear. They want you anxious, uncertain, desperate to restore peace. So desperate that you'll trade your dignity for their approval. But peace bought with self-betrayal isn't peace. It's surrender. So when they go cold, you stay warm to yourself. You don't internalize their withdrawal as proof you were wrong. You see it clearly. A tactic designed to make you negotiate with your own self-respect. And you don't negotiate. Here's the hard truth. Someone who genuinely cares about you doesn't punish you with silence for having boundaries. They might need time to process. They might need to cool down, but they communicate that they don't leave you drowning in uncertainty. Strategic absence is designed to make you drown, to make you so uncomfortable that you'll do anything to end the silence. Don't sit in it. Let the quiet reveal what words never could, whether this person respects you or simply wants control. And if they accuse you of being cold for not chasing them, that's projection. They withdrew first. You're just refusing to reward it. Number 6, exit without exposure. You've seen through the manipulation. You recognize the patterns. You know exactly what's happening. Now comes the hardest part. Getting out without making everything worse, because confronting a manipulator almost never works the way you think it will. You imagine laying out the evidence, explaining what they've done, holding them accountable, and maybe, just maybe, they'll see it, apologize, change. But that's not what happens. Manipulators don't do accountability. They do deflection, denial, victimhood. You try to expose their behavior and suddenly you're the villain for noticing. So the smartest move isn't exposure. It's exit. Clean, quiet, strategic exit. This doesn't mean ghosting. It doesn't mean vanishing without explanation. It means disengaging in a way that protects you without giving them ammunition to twist the narrative. Here's why this matters. Manipulators feed on reaction. They need you emotional, defensive, hurt. Because when you're emotional, you're messy. And messy is easy to discredit. They'll take your justified anger and frame it as proof you're unstable. They'll use your pain as evidence you're too sensitive. They'll show everyone your reaction while hiding what caused it. And suddenly, you're the problem. So, you starve them of reaction. You don't explain in detail. You don't list their offenses. You don't give them the big confrontation they can later rewrite. You just step back. When they ask why you're distant, you keep it surface level. I've been busy. I'm focusing on myself. I'm reevaluating some things. All true. None of it gives them a foothold. They'll push. Did I do something wrong? And this is where most people crack. They think honesty requires a full breakdown of every hurt. It doesn't. You can say, I don't think this relationship works for me anymore, and leave it there. You don't owe them a list. You don't owe them closure. You definitely don't owe them a debate about whether their behavior was really that bad. Because that's the trap. The moment you start explaining, you're back in. They'll pick apart every point, deny every example, flip every accusation. 2 hours later, you're exhausted. They're the victim. And somehow you're apologizing. Exit without exposure means you value your peace more than you need to prove your point. They'll try to bait you. Accusations, half-truths, provocations, anything to get you to engage, to defend yourself, to set the record straight. Don't bite. Machiavelli said, the person who stays calm controls the room. And nothing keeps you calmer than refusing to fight battles that don't serve you. Let them tell their version. Let them paint you however they want. The people who matter will see the truth eventually. The people who don't, they were never your audience. What matters is you're out. You've reclaimed your space. You've stopped letting someone else's dysfunction dictate your emotional state. That's the victory. Now, some relationships you can't fully exit. Family, co-workers, co-parents. In those cases, exit without exposure means creating emotional distance within the relationship. You stay civil, professional, polite, but you stop sharing anything real. No vulnerabilities, no personal updates, no emotional availability. You become what's called a gray rock. Boring, neutral, unreactive. They'll notice, they'll poke, they'll try to provoke the old reactions. And when you don't give them any, they'll either lose interest or escalate. If they escalate, that's your answer. A person who cares would ask, "Is everything okay?" A manipulator gets angry that their tactics stopped working. One last thing, don't badmouth them to mutual friends. I know it's tempting. You want validation. You want witnesses. You want people to know what they did. But people who've been manipulated by the same person will figure it out on their own. And when they do, they'll remember you stayed quiet, stayed dignified, didn't drag anyone into the mess. That's credibility. That's power. Manipulators self-destruct eventually. You don't need to help. You just need to be far away when it happens. Manipulation doesn't announce itself. It doesn't walk in wearing a mask. It slips in quietly, wearing the face of reason, of care, of "I'm just trying to help." And the only way to stop it is to stop participating. Not by fighting harder, not by exposing every tactic, but by seeing clearly and moving decisively. Knowledge without action changes nothing. So take one thing from this video and use it this week. Just one. Refuse a guilt trip. Delay a conversation until you're ready. Stop chasing someone who went cold. Start small. Stay consistent and watch your world shift. If this video gave you clarity you didn't have before, hit that like button and subscribe. Share it with someone who needs to see this. Remember, manipulators survive in fog. You just became the light. Now go out there and stay unshaken.